Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm KeeshaStrickland, and I have with me Mr. Tony McClure. And the topic today is on whether or not there are Satanists in the workplace. I brought on Mr. McClure because he had an experience with this topic, and I wanted him to just share a little bit about that. In the future, I am going to be doing another video on Satanism and what Satanists believe and what we can do as Christians to combat some of the influence that they might have on others. But for this episode, we're just going to hear from Mr. McClure about what happened at a conference that he attended and the after effects. All right, so tell us what happened. You were at a conference.
Yes, to kind of set the stage on this, we know that the workplace, everybody is entitled to believe, what they want to be.
Freedom of religion in this country, and that's a good thing.
Yeah. So you have to, in that context, is I think the best way to kind of approach it because it's a right today.
Yes, it is.
So at this conference, basically, it was referencing actually religion in the workplace. So basically, everyone from different backgrounds, not everyone disclosed, their beliefs. It was just pretty much coming to understand everyone's rights inside of the workplace when it comes to their religion itself. During the course of the event, basically we had someone. First the speaker basically set the stage and kind of said it was supposed to be a safe space for everyone to communicate their beliefs, and so that so people would share. And most people take that approach to get people to talk, and that's what happened. People talked, and so. And with that said, once he said that, this one person that stepped up and said, now that we got that out of the way, we're going to test that theory of safe space. So, and they said basically that they are a Satanist and that they are there as his representative. So immediately there was a shock around the room. So a lot of people that were of a Christian faith, it immediately got a sharp response from everybody. I can't say everybody. There are those, I believe, that were probably not affiliated with any type of religion.
Yeah.
That was just probably there to understand how to deal with these things in the workplace. Now, the sad thing about it is that you have to understand that inside that profession, we're protecting everybody's rights, that no matter what they believe inside of that realm of the office. So,
can I ask you one question before you go on about that particular person? Before that person spoke up, were there any atheists that said anything? Like, I am an atheist.
I believe there were a lot, some people in the group that did express that they didn't believe in God.
Yeah.
But for the things that I do, it's supposed to not matter. But from the standpoint of a Christian, and knowing this inside the workplace, it's a challenge. It's a conflict of values, right? Because you know that you have the inside of your position, that you have you're governed by law to protect these individuals, and these individuals are there to help others, and you never know what their values are. So this here was a pretty shocking thing, right? Because you never know who's on your left or right of you, talking to you on a day-to-day basis, and in the context of where we were at, that reaction there was just like, wow. There were, I believe, a few people that were Christians, and I believe one was a pastor, and he immediately began to attack.
Oh, spoke up immediately.
Yeah. So if I was a non-Christian, I probably would have thought a certain kind of way towards the Christians' reaction to this person that said that they were a Satanist. A non-believer probably would have looked like the Christian was being too confrontational.
Yes.
Versus being open.
Do you remember what the pastor said?
Oh yeah.
To the Satanists?
Yes. There's nothing. Well, he pretty much proposed it out to the group. Like, there ain't nothing. What do you know is good that's gonna come from Satan?
Okay.
And so, he was pretty much rallying.
Was he like,
the group, and pretty much said, I ain't got nothing to do with any of this, and I'm out. And what he says, if this is what we're going to talk about, I'm out of here.
And he left?
He went to the back, and
he got up.
then immediately the speakers were like, listen, everyone, you had to remind everybody this is a safe space, and that we want everyone to be able to talk about this from their, from their. It wasn't really about talking about this from their belief system. It was really talking about how do you deal with this in the workplace. But it was almost a real example of, well, how do you deal with it, right? Because you never know who's going to come up to you and ask for help, or who you're going to ask help from, because of their it's not disclosed. It's not like this on their sleeve. And for me, as a Christian, I kind of want to know, right? I kind of want to know your resume before I'm reaching out to you for help, because I'm not sure what direction you're going to take me. And as a Christian, I could imagine not knowing that and receiving counsel from this individual. It feels, you're hoping that they're going to follow set guidelines and laws, but you never know. Their values, according to what they say they believe, isn't congruent to those of a Christian. So it just makes you think about it.
Yeah. Did you say anything?
Well, I didn't say anything, but I know that I wanted to, a lot of people, I think, started to leave the room.
Oh.
So I didn't feel it in my spirit to leave. I wanted to hear what was going to be said. And so, I know that everyone must guard their ears, what they allow to their spirit and everything like that. But I was prepared to hear what was going to be communicated. And they basically, just highlighted that they were his representative. And
Satan's representative.
And so they were just speaking to him as being the light. And I believe that his name, Lucifer, does interpret to something of light, because that's what type of angel he was. His beginnings were, before he was a fallen angel, and his pride, his pride that took him down. But in the sense of that, they made reference to that to let you know that they were there to represent him and communicate on it. Now, the context of the meeting was nothing really about, about their religion, but it was about, you have different people that's going to have different beliefs that's going to come there, and what are you going to do? For me, in that moment, it was just, as a Christian, just coming out of that, it was just really that understanding that you never know who you're talking to, and you always have to be prepared as a Christian, and to just to understand that the person next to you don't know what their belief system is, and you need to kind of probably get to know people, to know who's in your circle, because it's just something that when it comes to that, not understanding, knowing who your friends are, knowing who you're talking to. You never know what their values are and what might guide some of the things that they recommend to you or say to you.
That's a good point. Now, this was a conference, so it's not like you were going to be around those people again, maybe next year at the same conference. But if someone is actually in a workplace situation, like at their job on a day-to-day basis, and they find out that they do work with someone who practices Satanism or some other type of witchcraft, what would you recommend that they do if they should do anything?
Well, you're going to have to make a decision, because as we stated earlier, they're going through freedom of religion is protected in the workplace. But at the same time, there's not supposed to be any expression of that in the workplace and, of your religion. So it's supposed to be, I want to say, sort of a sanitized environment when it comes to expressing your religion. But we know that doesn't always happen.
No, I have some scriptures up in my office.
Yes. and that's the same for here, is that everyone knows my background. But I think as a Christian confronted with that, you're gonna have to be prayed up, especially if you're gonna stay in that space, because that means that your daily office relationship is gonna be with this person, and you're gonna have to be very strong in your belief. And I pray that if you are in that situation, that your influence can help change them. But otherwise, if you are not strong and easily swayed, you definitely have to strengthen yourself on the word and be prayed up, put on that shield, the armor, salvation on you, and then daily when you go in there. I mean, not that you shouldn't daily already, but just especially when you're facing this on a up close and personal basis every time you go to the office, because we spend most of our life in the workplace, so that's a lot of time to be sitting with someone that's that way. So you have to make that decision on whether or not you're going to continue to deal with that. Not that it should run you off from your job, but it's just something you're going to have to be prayed up about and prepared for on a day-to-day basis, because you're not really talking about what do you believe to accomplish work, so it's really knowing that you got to have general conversations with this person about work, and you're trying to accomplish tasks that the office needs you to do. And so you kind of got to, as they say, put it in a parking lot, so to speak. But it's kind of hard, that's a hard decision that, you have to be prepared for. Because there's a lot of things outside of just that are different from our values as Christians, and that you have to just come to terms with on what's negotiable for you and not negotiable. And I know that the workplace is filled with a lot of other challenges, but that one there was just pretty amazing, just to see and hear someone that openly express that they believed, and this is what they're doing, this is what they study on a day-to-day basis. And I just said to myself, what does that look like? So I just expressed that we're in a different world today, and so it's just a very tricky, slippery slope when it comes to how you really deal with this in office, but I just say be prayed up, and I just pray that, you know, I pray for that individual,
Yes.
you know, that they change, but I know that when that day comes, you have to know which side you're on.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm on the side of Jesus Christ,
Me
my
too.
Lord and Savior.
Yes, but you're right. There are many other sides that people are choosing, and we don't usually know. That person just happened to share what that person's beliefs are. If that person didn't say, you would have been maybe even become friends, you know, and found out much later. So thank you for sharing. Thank
problem.
you for this information, and I will be talking a little bit more about this and other issues of this nature in the workplace at a later time. So come on back to this channel to hear more. Thank you for listening. Talk to you soon.